Okay, so not like I became aware of it, but I first met people who actually played Dungeons and Dragons in like sixth grade. Notwithstanding one of my older cousins and stuff who was into like the whole sci-fi fantasy comic book gaming thing. But I saw him. I was on like a once every year seeing him clip. So I mean, who cares about that? But Dungeons and Dragons was about you made a character, and they were like like a fantasy character. And the point of the game was to become as powerful as possible and like amass treasure and like magic weapons and stuff. And use them to kill goblins and like even more hardcore beasts. And there was a book called the Monster Manual, and that detailed like every monster in the fantasy world and their stats and their alignment, because they had that like what are their morals, like what drives the goblins to like loot and plunder, and like their other stuff. But they had like all kinds of monsters, and they would get like increasingly overpowered. You had like started with like a Z or something. It was like a giant sea turtle, but it had like a whole island on its back. And they had the terrasque, and that was like super extra hardcore. You would have like the dragons, and like the thing with dragons is there's this like big. They were big on charts in Dungeons and Dragons, but it was like they had charts explaining like how the dragons get more powerful as they age or whatever. But the terrasque, it was this like big fucking thing, and it would like eat things, and it was invulnerable to like everything, and the only way to kill it was to have your uber level like elven barbarian or whatever to like beat it down to 0 hit points, and then you had to use a wish spell to keep it dead, because otherwise it would just keep getting back up and like eating you. Yeah, so that was like the Tarrasque. And yeah. I like kind of did some like Dungeons and Dragons shit in like sixth grade in like the lunchroom and stuff, but it kind of got old. But and like the next year I discovered music and stopped giving a shit about it. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons was like supposed to be evil also, because a bunch of people wrote books about how the spells in Dungeons and Dragons were real spells. Like all these people, they were Christian, but like the Christianity had gotten into their brain and like made them like mentally ill, to where they believed that there were like real witches running around and eating babies. And I actually had this book. It was, I'm not sure if it was called like Seduction of the Innocent. It was like the title was like really close to that. But Satanism was also in the title. But it told you about like how the Satanists use the Dungeons and Dragons to like recruit little kids. And it had examples of like heavy metal rock music, and like how those were satanic too. And it listed bands that I'm not sure if they were like ever popular or anything. That was like 6th grade, you'd like listen, you'd have like kids listen to like Megadeth and Slayer and shit, and Metallica. That was before they did Load, but Metallica was really big and stuff. But they would have like these kind of obscure bands that were held up as examples of like what the Satanists are doing to seduce the young of their innocence and get them into their satanic cults where they can sacrifice them. Oh, and they had baby breeders. Their baby breeders were women who the Satanists would have sex with, and when the baby breeders had babies, they would sacrifice the baby to the devil. And the women were okay with this because like they were into Satan that much that it's like, oh please, I'm gonna carry this baby for 9 months and then like deliver it, and then I'm going to like stab it with this black dagger. And yeah, I don't know. God, what the fuck? Yeah, that was like a big thing. Like the Satanists, and for a while, people took that like really seriously. And if I remember, if somebody would like go under a freeway underpass and like spray paint like a pentagram or something, it would make the news. I mean, not like the top story at 11, but it would be like, oh, it's the devil graffiti. The devil worshippers are devil worshipping by spray painting graffiti on our freeways. It's, I don't know, but yeah, if it was like 1992, 1993, and you would go into like a drainage ditch and spray paint like an upside down cross in there with like the can of spray paint, which probably well under $1 then too. You could probably get some like real bargains if you went to Walmart or something, which wasn't as widespread then. I think there was only one in Reno and one in Carson City, but it was a different time. But yeah, you could, have your store on the news just because you vandalized like a ditch that nobody cares about. And I think that would help you in Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, they wanted to get you to like buy all the books and buy all the dice and stuff. And couple years later, I had some friends who were into like the Vampire the Masquerade game, and the books for that were like really expensive too. And kind of read through them. I never really got around to like playing it and stuff. And they had like a werewolf spinoff, which was like, yeah, but yeah. So that was it. That was role playing in Dungeons and Dragons, and it might lead you to being the devil, and it might lead you to being a vampire werewolf or Satanism. But never really got into that much. I ain't no Satanism. I ain't no vampire. So that's it. So dun, dun.